All right, everyone. See, we didn't need to panic. Everything's fine. The stream is back. Oh my goodness, we're back with more Lady Arcaders Super Showcase 2023. And as promised, there will be Bayonetta 2 shortly. But real quick, we did have a $5 donation come in from the one, the only, Broken Hyperlink, who says, $5 chain, let's go! Choo-choo! It has been a wonderful weekend, and I just want to thank Lady Arcaders again for having me and creating such a wonderful event. Could not echo that sentiment more. Lady Arcaders has been a lovely host for this event, and let's hear it for there's more to experience, because... Oh, what's this? Let's give it up for a variety pack and Bayonetta 2, any percent Rosa, infinite Climax.
Alright, hello there everyone, my name is A Variety Pack, and as Pippi has graciously told us, we are going to be doing Bayonetta 2, any percent Rosa, infinite Climax. It's a very long title, I understand. I am joined here today by Dark Soul, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Oh. Yes, you've seen me do a couple of Kirby things now, and I am here to commentate once again. This should be good.
We'll do our best to make it good. There's a lot of stuff to explain about the game as we go along through it, but for now I'm just going to change a couple things in our control settings and start the story. I see that there's a poll in chat saying that, questioning the nature of Bayonetta, but I regret to inform you that we will not be playing as Bayonetta, we'll be playing as her canonical mother, whose name is Rosa. She has a very important aspect about her, that she deals 3 times as much damage, which is very good for a difficult run, but she has the drawback that she takes 3 times as much damage as well, and we'll see how that factors into the run as we go along. So I'm ready to go, so if tech is ready, we can go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, infinite Climax. What does that mean? In addition to just being harder, all of the fights are different, or at least most of them are. You might have seen me perform any percent Rosa easy or normal on other showcases around the internet, but this one is very distinct because the fights are also changed, so it's not just a souped up version of this. In addition, infinite Climax with, as I said, the 3 times damage taking that Rosa is afflicted with means that I will basically die in one hit all the time, which means I have to be very, very careful. As such, I will be donating $2 per death. Hopefully they don't happen too much, but that is my pledge for this particular run. There are 4 things you need to know about Bayonetta combat. If you are unfamiliar, the first is punches and kicks. You can do light attacks and strong attacks, which involve your feet. By stringing these into numerous combos, you can basically just have a bunch of different things, but we're only really going to be seeing one combo, which is punch, kick, punch, because it's the fastest way to get a wicked weave out at the very end. The second mechanic, as you can see on screen, is that every so often, once our magic meter on the top left-hand side of the screen, which you cannot see now, but you will after we start the actual proper run. Once that gets filled, I have the option to turn into my Umbran mech, which is instigated by activating Umbran Climax. That's going to be very helpful because it does a lot of damage, protects me from death, and also makes it so that I just do a lot more damage as well. Finally, I shouldn't say finally because I said 4. The third thing about Bayonetta combat is dodging. It's difficult to describe it here because this is an auto-scroller section. However, if you dodge at just the right time, you will normally enter, well, I didn't do it there, right? You will normally enter witch time, which means the screen goes all purple and you have an extended period of time to attack enemies without taking any damage. It's going to be very useful in Infinite Climax because we would prefer to deal damage and not take any. The fourth involves something called the Crow Within, which I will describe later as we unlock it. Those 4 things in combination basically make up the entirety of Bayonetta combat. Like I said though, Infinite Climax will make this basically extremely difficult because I die in one hit and I don't have one hit protection like normal, like easy, normal, and hard difficulties have. This Records of Time section is at the beginning of, I think, every main Bayonetta game, with perhaps the exception of the prequel that came out. I don't know, I have not played it.
That makes 2 of us, because I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, I tried the demo a little bit, but I'm so bad at controlling multiple characters at the same time that I just went out of vibed with my brain, so to speak. But yes, the Records of Time is basically just a very long auto-scroller in which you can do nothing but sort of waste time. So you get to see me warm up my hands before the actual madness of this run begins. And I will be dying a lot. I want to apologize up front that there will be deaths, and you may question my legitimacy as a speedrunner because of it, but just know that it is normal, and death is imminent. We will begin with the prologue, World of Chaos. This is, quite honestly, the biggest hurdle of the run, because if you die, you start all the way at the beginning of the autoscroller, which is really, really bad. So I'm going to be quiet for just a little bit, as I try not to die, taking out these enemies. Now, this is not normal in easy, normal, and hard. There's an extra enemy here, this little squid guy. So by dodging at just the right moment, this is witch time, you see. Alright, we made it past the first section of the autoscroller. Here's section 2. Try to get witch time to get a little bit of magic. You can see it now building up on the top left-hand side of the screen. We're going to want it to avoid damage from this giant enemy here. Good. As well as being able to take him out very quickly. We do not want him left on screen because he's very quick and can take out your entire health bar in one hit, but that's not exactly very special because, of course, every single enemy in this mode can do that. Alright, we've made it past the first 2 sections of the autoscroller. The next one is by far the longest and the most dangerous to die in because you start all the way over from the beginning. So, I have indeed prepared a backup save just in case this continues to go poorly, but it's not going so bad right now. If you are good at this game, what you can do is simply do the fight as intended. That is to say, you can do all of the fights that the game is going to throw at you in this autoscroller. I, however, am bad, so what I'm going to be doing instead is leaving one enemy on screen, because this means that the other 2 enemies will not spawn. They will always spawn in trios in this section. Because of that, I'm going to continuously run around and just hope that he doesn't hit me. The fights that come after the fights that keep coming in every subsequent trio are very, very difficult, and I would rather do this little running stunt than have to deal with literally any of the fights in that particular autoscroller. So we're going to be doing the same thing again. Hopefully dodging in time. Good, now hopefully we don't get any damage from this archer centaur thing. Not exactly sure what they were going for, but it's cool, so whatever. Run back and forth, try to bait his enemy AI just a little bit so that he doesn't continuously hit me, and we're at the next stage. Hopefully we don't dodge this, and good. We are now past the necessity for me to use the backup save, which is really, really, really good. I was afraid that I was going to have to die there 10 times, but I've successfully made it out of the initial gauntlet.
Very, very clean set of autoscrollers, though.
However, I regret to inform you that that is just the beginning, and despite that being the most punishing part to die on, you will die, or at least I will die, a lot more. I promise. Our first fight will be against Belief, who attacks really, really fast. Alright, good. Now we need to be really careful not to take any damage here. We want to make sure that we don't actually use our Untitled Climax if we don't have to. But I'm going to because I'm scared. Forgive me. And that is that part done. And now we have a fight against Gamora coming up. Gamora is your trusted partner, not really partner, I guess pet, from the demon world. And despite us controlling him with relative ease right now, he's going to be a bad boy, and we're gonna have to take him out. It's okay, he responds.
We here at the Lady Arcaders like our puppies. Unfortunately, sometimes the puppies might need a little bit of discipline.
Perhaps. The reason why I did not want to use all of my magic initially is because this fight is also really hard because of really jank hitboxes like that. Alright, so that's one death. And remember, as I said, being an Umbran Climax means that you are protected from death. I did not have it available, so that is the first death of the run, and there will be many more, I promise.
On the
Variety. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on. You're dead.
I was gonna say variety. May I ask, if anybody wanted to say, oh hey, donate $1 to care for every one of their steps, about what size of tab would they be expecting to look at? Just an idea.
Well, I regret to inform you and deprive you of any good answer, but that death range could be anywhere from 1, because that is now our obvious minimum, to about 50. I would not want to.
If you'd like to just go ahead and get it out of the way, $50 donations would be great.
That's also an option.
Besides, you can also put that into Untitled incentive. Untitled incentive is the character choice for your it's our finale.
That's true. But Chet, you're interested in going for the gamble. It could be as low as $1.
It could be. If I only die once, I will donate $50.
Is this like a sliding scale? If you die 25 times, it's equal on both halves, or just options?
Yeah, my initial promise was $2 per death, so.
Well, that's if chat's feeling spicy. If they want for their donation range to be between 2 and 100 instead of 1 and 50, they can join you on that.
That is a possibility. I have just golded that segment by 5 seconds. It's very cool. That literally means nothing, because I'm gonna die a lot in the showcase. It's just gonna happen. It's a marathon. Alright. Now, not only do we have to worry about combat, there are some skips that we have to perform. The first one coming up skips I think the literal first fight that's required in the game. After we make our way into this little tunnel, there's going to be a book in the middle. We don't want to pick up the book because it just wastes a little bit of time. So we're going to jump over it with our advanced jumping over book tech. And that clearing that you see over there, that circular clearing, is the thing that houses the fight. So we're basically going to jump and somersault our way just to the left of the trigger, jump onto this pillar, and avoid it entirely. Now coming up is the most important part, probably, of this run, which is purchasing candies. Candies give you a number of boosts, such as restoring health, providing invincibility, giving you a little bit of extra magic, or increasing your damage output outright. We don't have a ton of money because we didn't do the actually good at this game strat in the prologue, but we should have enough to help me out along the way, and in addition to giving us the 4th combat option that I said in the very beginning of the run. Without a doubt, we want to get some invincibility candies, and a red hotshot, which will revive us once if we die. We're also going to get Falcon Within, Hornet Within, which increases our sort of window to use witch time. And I think we're going to get a couple of these red lollipops, which will increase our damage output for a short time. Now that we have those candies, we can apply them directly to our person. That's not where I normally put them. In addition to the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next fight with a little bit of a cutscene to intercede.
And the city suddenly going underwater, which is honestly just par for the course for this series, if anything.
Yes, angels are very destructive. Alright, so the final combat option that I had described, or at least alluded to in the beginning, is something called the Crow Within, meaning that once we have enough magic, which is 2 circles of magic, we can turn into a bird and summon these feathers. These feathers are super powerful and are basically our main damage output for this. Like, all of those enemies are now dead. So we're going to need to have constantly vigilant use of these feathers, in addition to good dodging practices. I thought I died there, but I was just picking up an item. And that is that fight done with. Good. You saw that I turned into a bunch of bees right at the end of the fight. That was the Hornet Within. If I did not purchase that, I would have died because it extends the sort of the window that I can actually dodge any attack. Coming up, we have a fight against Valiance here, which is a guy with a sword in his sword. A face in his sword, excuse me. Luckily, feathers are basically optimal against big, giant enemies. So this fight is actually relatively similar to any fight on easy, normal, or hard. Not too big of a deal for us. So when I said all fights are changed, I meant some of the fights are changed. They didn't want to do too much work programming, so.
I don't think I've seen a boss get shredded so hard in this game.
Feathers are almost more important than the mech, at least in terms of dealing damage. So the mech will take out this first part here. But we're going to want to make sure we have enough for the second wave that is not standard, and you do not normally see. That's going to be an attack. Thank you, Hornet Within, for saving me from death. And yeah, we want, basically you can do this thing called preloading feathers, meaning that before a fight actually begins, you can have feathers already loaded, so you don't have to spend time in the fight trying to dodge and also summon the feathers. This is Loki. He's story, so we don't care about him, so we're going to simply spin instead. I don't know why they made the physics on Rosa's headscarf so good in comparison to the rest of the game, but it's fun.
Because it was the correct choice.
I suppose.
I want to spin like that.
It does make me wonder if anyone has, if there's any like new messages to spin out, if anything.
Alright, the game...
I mean... Oh, continue, sorry.
The game wants us to open doors by hitting Y, but you can actually attack doors open, thankfully. Speaking of preloading feathers, here's an instance where we're going to do that again. And we want to take out this shield guy first, because he has a shield, which is really obnoxious. For that reason, he just blocks all your attacks. I don't know why he went over to hit Loki, but I'm thankful for it, I suppose. And then we have a fight against two big guys this time, not just one. Two is a little bit more complex. I'm gonna use a invincibility candy just to make sure that I get through this. I'm not actually exactly sure what you wanted to do, but whatever. And I picked up an item that I wasn't supposed to. Hopefully that shouldn't prove any problems. We'll see. Alright, coming up is the boss fight of this chapter, which is Glamour, I believe the name of this particular angel is. We're going to do a little bit of a strat. Hopefully we get it, but it's not too big of a deal if we don't. We're going to equip our invincibility candy, dodge, hopefully, and get enough feathers off such that it basically goes to the second phase of the fight already, which it did, thankfully. With our remaining sort of long-ranged feathers, we're going to do as much damage as possible. We almost got there, but that's okay. Alright, and that is the end of the fight as well. Great. At the end of every big fight, there's this thing called the Climax cutscene where we just brutally take out these monsters by mashing a button, so if you have any time for donation, if any donations to read out, now's a great time.
I mean, I will always gladly tell you about our wonderful cause if I have a moment.
Absolutely.
We're raising money, everyone. Did you know? I know, it's such a surprise. For CARE! CARE is our charity of choice, and let me tell you why it should be yours too. Because CARE works around the globe to save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice. They seek a world of hope, inclusion, and social justice where poverty has been overcome and all people live with dignity and security. Founded in 1945, today CARE works in 110 countries, focusing on girls and women in their efforts because they are disproportionately affected by poverty and are the key to fighting it. I think as a group called Lady Arcaders, we can support that mission statement. Yeah, I feel like that tracks. But if anybody out there has some money in your budget and would like to donate to a good cause, it's !donate in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Or alternately, if you see the QR code, you can use your phone and scan that, and it will also take you to the donation.
Oh yeah, we have technology! I'm fascinated. Anyway, you're fighting a big, scary thing right now.
I am.
And it's gone.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to note is that we now have access to the shop from the very beginning of the menu screen before each chapter. So we got to just sort of stock up on candies that I was unable to afford before, which means that we have a nice, healthy number of candies to use, and we will be using them because I'm very scared. We have a long cutscene here.
I've never seen a witch.
So I'm actually going to take this. Oh, I can't take this time to change my candies. That's fantastic.
Come on, love.
So we can do some more spinning
I'm
instead.
just gonna tell you my secrets when I don't even know who's
I know this is early on in the run, but you're absolutely acing it so far.
I'm not doing too bad. I was expecting to have died a couple more times.
No. I got nothing.
I feel like that'd be better than me trying to do this mode.
Yeah, one hit death is no joke, especially against this next enemy. Which, please get up. Thank you. Sword enemy is really, really, really hard. It probably didn't look like it was because I just took it out very quickly, but it really is. He blocks your attacks, he attacks you very quickly, and also has very janky hitboxes. The perfect combination for ranking up some deaths in your run. Wait for Loki to make a little bit more of the level. And we get to fight yet another one of the sword guys, because of course we do. I made it look easy in a couple ways. The first one was by, you know, just using the feathers. But the second and more important one was that I just used an invincibility candy, which means I didn't have to worry about dodging. I used a red candy here, so in just a few cycles of feathers, we'll be able to take out the belief here and finish off the second chapter. So, when I say that I make some of these things look easy, I do mean it. Well, I mean it and I don't mean it. I mean it in the sense that playing this game casually without knowing really what you should be doing is hell. It's really not fun. Straight up. It feels like you're playing Bayonetta 1 again. However, with the right candies, if you have invincibility accessible to you, then it's a very fun experience. It sort of feels like what the game really wants you to be playing, in a sense. I mentioned that the shop is now open in the chapter screen, and we're going to make use of that literally every single chapter. I will take no chances. I will restock all of my candies every single time we enter the shop.
Just out of curiosity then, is there any other upgrades or moves that you end up grabbing throughout the run?
Yes, I actually very sneakily picked up something called Witch Twist, and you'll see what that does in a little bit. Witch Twist is a very infamous move if you're a fan of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or Smash 4. It was the move that completely destroyed both of those games. Alright.
Not so much Ultimate apparently, but...
Not so much Ultimate, but you know, there's a couple. Alright, so this is chapter 3. It begins with everyone's favorite thing, which is an auto-scroller. Even worse, it's an auto-scroller that you can't really do much about. You can damage the boss, as you can see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, but there's sort of a damage limit to how much I can do every turn. This would normally, in an easy mode run, actually be quite the boon, because what you can do is take damage on purpose, simply because... Oh, make sure we dodge this. That was very close. What was I saying? Yes, simply because you can take damage on purpose, because Witch Time is actually slow. It slows down the environment, and we don't technically want that for a speedrun, because we want things to keep moving at their intended rate. When we use Witch Time, it's good, because we avoid damage and get to deal damage, but if we want things to move quickly, taking damage is actually, on easy mode, a viable solution. It is not a viable solution on Infinite Climax. You will die. You just will die. So, I will be dodging every single one of these big stab attacks, bite attacks from Glimmer here. As well as build up my magic meter that you can see in the top left. That's honestly the most important thing, because at the very end of this chapter, we'll be fighting 3 of these Glimmers at once. So, we want to make sure that we have enough built up so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, the second phase is really just more of the first, so I'll turn it over to Pippi once more.
You dare to give me control over the mic, you're brave. Oh my goodness. Well, I have so much power. Whatever shall I do with this mic time? Hey, how about a quick reminder that we are Lady Arcade's Super Showcase. Did you know? Did y'all know that?
I'm glad you reminded me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was confused about where I was for a second.
Yeah, you are watching Lady Arcade's Super Showcase 2023, and a fun thing about Lady Arcade's Super Showcase 2023 is that we do have merch! If you would like to have a physical reminder always with you, in case you forget again that this has been Lady Arcade's Super Showcase 2023, we do have t-shirts that say just that, and are super soft and comfy, and come in a bunch of sizes and different colors that people can choose from. And of course, since this is a charity event, $5 from every sale of those t-shirts will be going to CARE. If you would like to also just support Lady Arcaders in general, we do also have other merch that says Lady Arcaders on it and not Super Showcase 2023. And the proceeds from that goes to support our year-round content, including Attract Mode, which happens twice a week and shows off plenty of quick little showcases to just spice up your day.
Alright, thank you very much. This is that fight against the 3 dilemmas that I was talking about. We want to make sure we have enough magic to take all of these ones out very quickly. A punch-punch-punch combo is instead of a punch-kick-punch combo that we typically use for the mech. Does the most damage because you have both of your fists out when you do this final attack here, which doubles the amount of damage you do. Okay, that was scary.
At least we're alive. That's the important detail right now.
Yeah, so this last one probably seems very scary, but with a combination of mashing the shoot button and a red candy, he actually takes damage in the middle of this cutscene, so it's done. No need to worry about the last one. I technically was not in a ton of danger when I took that damage and that one hit. Because I was in the mech, as I've covered before. You're not at risk of dying when you're in the mech. It's very possible that you will take damage and be at 1 health, but you will not die as long as you have Unburned Climax activated. Alright. This next chapter is really bad, as are all chapters that make you fight an enemy known as Balder. Balder is a Lumen Sage, sort of the angelic counterpart to the witches. I'm gonna get one of these right now. And every single humanoid boss fight in this game is really obnoxious because they like to jump around everywhere and not get hit by your mech, which feels strange because the mech is so gigantic. But yeah, they just will straight up dodge your mech. So we're going to have to use a combination of feathers to take them out, in addition to just wishing for the best. Rather unfortunately, when you're in the air fighting these humanoid boss fights, you cannot activate the Crow Within, so you are forced to just use actual skill, which is something that I have in short supply sometimes. Alright, we have a mini fight here. Not too bad. Yes, I could have made this fight significantly faster if I had used a candy, but because Balder is such a slippery fella, we are going to try to keep as many of our candies as humanly possible for that fight. Thankfully, this is yet another enemy that's just singular and very large, so the feathers will take him out without mercy.
Which is very welcome considering how scary most everything I have seen so far has wanted to be. Also, I see in the chat that somebody asked, is chat cute today? I hope it is. It usually is. See, they already have the right idea.
They're preempting.
The cute was inside you the whole time, chat.
It turns out the true cute was the chatters we met along the way.
Alright, so this is the boulder fight. It's very annoying. We're gonna activate all 3 of our candies and bring out feathers and just hope he tries to attack us. Good, because that means the feathers can actually hit him. Alright, it's phase 2. This is a very free thing whenever he charges up that animal there. The angel in the back, he is extremely prone to the feathers. Do I want to use the red hot shot now? This does not count as a death, by the way. What I'm counting as true deaths, so without a red hot shot.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one who was already thinking. Like, I don't count those.
Alright, he's gonna do it again. Okay, good. So now, I'm going to go ahead and use my... Oh, I didn't buy any healing candies because I'm just that intelligent. Alright. Gonna use one of these, I'm gonna use one of these, and just start to hope that he attacks.
This is fine.
Alright, we basically are hoping that he does attacks that we can dodge very easily, so we can do punch kick punch combos. We're getting close. Okay. That's 2. Thankfully, we don't have to start the fight all the way over from the beginning. We can just do from the final phase. Well, second to final phase, technically speaking.
Yeah, it should definitely be a lot worse considering some of the other stuff that we've already run into, even this early in.
The most obnoxious thing is that it's just really hard to see what's going on in this fight because there's just so many. There's 2 giant angels or 2 giant beings fighting in the background. So literally seeing what you need to do in this fight is not easy. We're gonna try to use our max, see if it gets. See what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason that he should be dodging all these attacks, but he is. All right, so final phase, which is using Madama Butterfly to attack whatever this thing is. And we just do a bunch of uppercuts, and that should be it. Oh my gosh, okay. 1 death, I'll take it.
For everyone counting at home, I believe that's 2 deaths total.
Nice.
I am a speedrunner and cannot do math, but I think I counted to 2 correctly.
I also counted to 2.
As
Perfect.
have I.
Okay. That's 2 out of an unknown number,
An unknown
possibly.
number. Oh, I split way too early. Oh, hush you, Enzo. Alright. Like I said, we're going to be very liberal with our use of buying candies. And we're going to hopefully actually purchase healing candies this time. I don't prioritize them, actually, if I'm being totally honest, because, you know, most things kill you in 1 hit anyway. But in the very unlikely event that you are not killed in 1 hit, they can be nice to have on hand.
Yeah, I thought about asking about that, but honestly, no, there was no reason to. Like, yeah, you wouldn't really buy healing items. You definitely wouldn't be buying health upgrades in a mode where you're probably not gonna need it.
Now, thank you for bringing that up. I did not purchase health upgrades, but you saw me debate and also eventually end up purchasing a magic upgrade. I do have an extra orb in my magic meter. This is very helpful because not having access to crows after using the mech can be devastating. So I would like to have eventually 2 magic upgrades so that I can use a full instance of the mech and also have crows available and feathers available after that. So I will be intending to purchase 1 more.
Yeah, so the less halos we have to spend before that, the better.
Yeah, but you know, I'm purchasing basically a full candy shop's worth of candy every single time I go to the store, so that is definitely lowest on my list of priorities because candies are absolutely required. I'm glad it's not like Bayonetta 1 because Bayonetta 1 was really obnoxious about candies because if you use the candies, it hurt your score, which seems to, you know, defeat the purpose of the
I distinctly remember
candies.
that. Yeah, I distinctly remember that. That's something I wasn't a fan of.
Yeah, it's trying to be tricky. Alright. That was our first demon fight, well, other than Gamora at the very beginning. So the idea behind the lore of this game is that the angels and demons and the rift between them are sort of starting to weaken because of the influence of the god of chaos named Aesir. So we'll be fighting many hell enemies instead of just the heaven enemies we fought in Bayonetta 1. And then Bayonetta 3, you don't fight heaven or hell enemies. Alright, we have a very, very long cutscene where we walk up the stairs. The only thing to know about this is that we need to stay on the left side, so if you can follow me on that, you can listen to Pippi's voice for another time.
But you're right.
Oh, I don't know if I can follow you. Those stairs, there's somebody over to the right. They're also walking up the stairs. What if I'm following them? I would love, though, to use this opportunity to give you an update. For, we do have a DDR Mario Mix Super Hard Difficulty Showcase incentive that is still yet to be met. That's $500 total, and we are currently at 145 of that. So we are got a ways to go. Sorry, I can't speak. We have a ways to go on that, but along the way, what a lovely pit stop we have available. Our current overall goal for a total raised of $2,500 is currently less than $200 away. So, hey, if you want to donate for that DDR Mario Mix, you also get to donate for the character choice, by the way. Your options are red Mario or green Mario, 2 very good colors. You would also be helping us get ever closer to our overall goal.
Yes, please don't make my death shame money be the thing that pushes over the end. For any GDQ fans out there, we are indeed fighting on a giant orb.
So you know, if you feel like doing it, get out your orbs.
Is it the GDQ meme time of the night now? Something airboat. Yes, chef?
I mean, I think they made an airboat reference during my run, so sure.
Every time of the night is the GDQ meme time of the night. If you ask GDQ, at least.
Alright, so we're gonna play as Loki for a little bit and dodge this. An enemy with orbs on their hands. Funnily enough. And yes, you still do die in one hit as Loki, not just as Rosa, so we do have to be slightly careful. There we go. Let's begin. And then coming up on the top of this tower, we have to fight 3 very large enemies, so I will be making very heavy use of both red and purple cannons. Which again, increase your damage and give you invincibility, respectively. And because I'm visiting the shop literally every single time. I do not feel bad about doing it. In normal, easy, and hard, you do have to be quite cautious about when you use your candies, because going to the store is very slow. It's just slow to do that. But in this run, and especially in a marathon setting, we will take this maybe 20-second hit that it does add to your time for guaranteed safety.
You know, Valeria, I did not make that reference during the first run I did for the event, and that was a missed opportunity.
Alright, Chapter 6 is Bridge to the Heavens against... So we saw Valiance before, which is one enemy that had a face on his sword. Now we have another one. I believe this one is called Valor. And our game plan is really not that much different. It's a boss fight against one giant enemy. And because we're in the air, we cannot simply use the feathers, but...
That's just going to make me take him then. After I've taken care of my business.
we can still be relatively fast. So you remember that method that we used to take out Glamour all the way back in Chapter 3, where we just turn on the mech and used a red candy and shot? We're gonna do it again. We are going to take a lot of damage here, but again, because we are in the mech when we do that, we're not at risk of dying. The only reason I dodged the first time is because I thought I could be a little bit cheeky and maybe up my speed of the chapter, but no, there's no need to do that.
I don't think you'll be able to get a new one of those.
So there will be indeed be instances where I take a lot of damage and it looks like I'm going to die, but there was really no danger of it. And since having a low health bar and a full health bar is effectively the same amount of HP in this version, it doesn't really phase me in that sense.
No, the only difference is the score might be slightly worse, but we don't terribly care about a score too much in this run from the looks of it.
No, indeed. Like I said, there are some instances in the normal run, the easy, normal, and hard runs where taking damage is better because it is faster. There are no such instances in this run, but it's good knowledge, I suppose. Alright, we were good on money and good on things, so it's time to enter probably the second most scary part of this run, which is the first half of Chapter 7. We're going to be fighting a giant manta ray known as Insidious. If we die at all throughout this fight, we have to start from the very beginning of fighting Insidious, which is really bad. So I'm going to do my best to not do that.
Good thing you have the red hot shot if it really comes to it.
I have one of them, yes. I would prefer, because you know what the worst part is? We actually fight Baldur right after this, so...
Oh, then we really don't want to be using that then.
Luckily, the Insidious eyes do have a stun point, like I just saw there. So they're not always going to be attacking us. The most dangerous part, though, are these missiles. They're even very scary on normal, easy, and hard difficulties. They will still basically take out your entire HP bar. So what we're doing right now is very slow. We're constantly dodging all of these broad missiles, but that's because I don't want to spend any of my invincibility candies. Those are going to be very helpful for the Baldur fight. And perhaps even later phases of this fight. Again, we're taking a lot of damage there, but that's fine because we're in the mech.
Still never not scary, just seeing the HP suddenly deplete.
Yeah, so imagine if I didn't have that. That would indeed be one hit death. Invincibility, and just sort of damage take your way through these. Alright, that should be it. That's
bad.
That's actually super obnoxious because, as you saw from the bottom right, the health was 0. So I just got hit by an extraneous attack that wasn't supposed to actually be on screen. So that will be fun.
I have a cursed question for you.
What's that?
Has that ever happened before?
It has, yes.
Okay. Because that feels like,
We unfortunately do not get to say the thing.
unintended?
Oh, it's
In
certainly-
terms of gameplay?
Well, I can't speak to the intention, but it's certainly not fun.
Yeah, it seems like it wouldn't be.
I see Ace Krana is in chat. Ace Krana is the current world record holder of this category, to which I am second place. We don't get to fight Baldur quite yet, so we do have to do a fight against a couple more grunts of the demonic variety. Shouldn't be too bad. What is bad, though, is this enemy. I think this enemy's name is Resentment. Resentment is awful. It is pretty bad. Has a one-hit kill move, moves very quickly, and in the process of using that one-hit kill move will take like 10 seconds to do so. So it's not only bad for your run in terms of time it takes to do that, it's also bad for your run in terms of just it taking just straight up a long time to do it. Alright, so we're gonna do exactly the same thing we did before.
It's fine. Kind of.
Okay.
You know everything's fine
Okay.
because the background is red Slurpees.
Just do that one more time, friend. Oh my gosh, okay. Through the Baldur fight. That's very nice. Yeah, like I said before, the mech is really imposing. It does a lot of damage to a lot of enemies on screen, but specifically for Baldur and some of the other humanoid boss fights in this game, they're just really, really good at dodging it. So feathers, although it requires actual dodging to be effective, they are very effective. But that was yet another really, really big hurdle for this run, so I'm glad that we got through it without, I guess, any deaths. We got a pseudo death, but that doesn't count. Our counter is still on too. Alright, so last time, I don't know what I meant by last time, a while back I said that we purchased a little sneaky thing called the Witch Twist, and that's because we're going to be making use of it to do a pretty big skip, probably one of the most notable skips in this game, basically using Witch Twist over and over and over again in a sequence known as Infinite Witch Twist. Because the game lets you cancel Witch Twist into itself, you can basically gain infinite height if you use it over and over again. So we're going to be using it to get from where we're going to be standing all the way over to that far golden waterfall over there. Don't believe me? Well, let's see how many tries it takes me.
I'm excited to see this. Oh dear.
Well, there's one.
But luckily we don't die doing that, so
We
it's all
don't.
good.
I will need to focus though.
And just seeing this is why we why in Smash this is probably why we don't get to do more than one or two of these.
Yeah. Glad they nerfed it a little bit. Alright. After that, we have a very annoying fight against Gollum, if you fought him in Bayonetta 1 as well. He's annoying for a couple reasons. The first of which is that he deals a lot of damage.
Also, apparently, also like spinning.
Life spinning, yes. The main reason it's actually quite dangerous is because it's very fast. There's an attack that he can do that's a laser attack that will simply just destroy you. It has a attack window that's almost non-reactable by humans. At I think 7 frames, which is really tough.
So you're saying there's a chance.
A chance, yeah. So I actually popped one of my big purple candies, sorry, my small purple candies, because I knew there's going to be 2 of these swordsman enemies that we saw before. They will go down, thankfully, without a hitch, unlike the humanoid enemies, to one punch, punch, punch combo from the mech. And we can use the punch, punch, punch combo basically 2 times before your magic meter runs out. And I'm actually so scared that I'm going to enter the gates of hell again and purchase more candies, even though I've only used 1 of them. So I apologize for being slow, but I hope you can forgive me for being safe. Although I don't know where I am. There we are.
Try to keep up.
But sometimes you just need the drop in the emergency sash.
Yes, absolutely. Alright, there are a couple darker color crystals. We do not want to hit those. They contain, like, basically pieces of heart, if you're familiar with Zelda. Collect 4 of them, you get more health. We don't want them, though, because it gives you a little bit of text that says, congratulations, you've collected this thing. But we are familiar, fear not game, and we do not want to waste our time.
And even if we did, and even then, the extra health doesn't help us.
That is true. I mean, it helps a couple times. You might have seen that in the Baldur fights. I did get hit a couple times, but it didn't take out all my health, just, like, the vast majority of it. But as a rule of thumb, yes, 1 hit is death. And some unfortunate movement there. That was another fight skip, by the way. Anything with a large circular clearing can pretty much be guaranteed to be a... a fight of some sort. Alright, not too bad. Alright, we're gonna preload some feathers for another fight against some squiddy monsters we're gonna see in this little water fight here. My hope is we get enough magic to kill the first one, and use our mech to take out the remaining 2. Very nice. One other thing that's very niche about Infinite Climax is that your magic gain, how much magic you gain for how much damage you do, is significantly reduced compared to, say, something like Easy, where you can get a full magic bar in maybe 3 hits with Rosa. It is extremely stingy, the game is, when giving you magic for Infinite Climax.
I still feel like you're getting it filled up very quickly, all these deserted, even not counting the purple candies.
Yes, it's worth mentioning that it's because we're playing with Rosa. If we were playing with Bayonetta, who does have a lower damage output, then it would not be as easy. Alright, this fight is really awful, because there's 3 of those resentment enemies that I was talking about before, so we're going to be careful. I thankfully had the training, the impulse, you could say, to pop a yellow invincibility candy just as I was running out of the mech. Ideally, you just use the mech, and you can take out all 3 of them with 1 combo, but didn't happen to me that time. Yet another darker colored crystal we're going to avoid. And that's the end of Chapter 8.
Performance might make the back page of the classified.
So far, you're making pretty good time.
Yeah, I made my estimate relatively generous, just in case I was to die.
Just in case of all the devs, which,
you know, it's still possible. We have a lot of very difficult fights coming up.
Oh, the many, many 2 deaths.
Most notably, in Chapter 15, there's a very long gauntlet of a ton of enemies. A lot of enemies of which are off-screen, so you can just die just randomly for no reason and have to start that gauntlet over again. So, hopefully that does not happen.
See, Ifrana made the mention, wondering if Slam Jam has enough range to just spread resentment.
It is possible. My concern then would be if it does enough damage, but you have the red candy, so it might actually be faster.
I'm actually not sure what that move is offhand.
Yeah, so when you have the Armored Mech, you can jump and you have a light attack. Press the X button. And you will just basically do a gigantic Hulk slam into the ground.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That is a very apt name for that move.
You saw me do a little bit of tricky movement there. That does indeed skip a little bit of... That skips yet another fight. Because despite it being basically a race, not a race, what am I trying to say? A battle for survival, it is still a speedrun. I dislike you very much. There we go. We have 2 beliefs, which we're going to use a red candy for. You saw how powerful the feathers were without the red candies, but feathers with the red candies are just, I think, the second most damage you can do with any given attack. The most damage you can do is coming up soon. And it's not something that we can really easily replicate ourselves, unfortunately, so it's not something that's abusable for the sake of the run. Quite unfortunately. That's not good. This should be fine.
Bayonetta 2, Infinite Climax. Everything is fine until it very much is not fine.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that just goes with the Bayonetta series in general.
That too, if I'm being honest.
Alright, so I'm going to assume that's fine, because despite the fact that we have to fight another humanoid enemy, the humanoid boss fight after this, it is not Baldur, so he's not quite as slippery as Baldur, so he should still be taking a lot of hits from us regardless. Yeah, that's still pretty good.
You know what, Pippi, you got the right idea, considering that giant thing was, in fact, just played with like a volleyball.
Yeah, that is indeed a reference to the first game. You fight Golem many times in the first game. It's really obnoxious, if I'm being totally honest. Thanks, game, for that. This is not great. Alright, we finished it with the good old punches and kicks. Not the ideal way of doing that fight, but we did not die, so I will gladly take it.
Honestly, for a second there, I thought maybe you were going to, with the way it looked from one of those hits.
Oh, trust me, I thought I was going to as well. It's a lot to ask a speedrunner to actually make use of their skill instead of just twitch reflexes that they've developed. Definitely restore red hotshot. We should be good to start chapter 10, which is a very unfortunate chapter. It's a very long, basically a boss rush against a bunch of hellish, devilish enemies. I guess I should mention that the entire point of chapters 8 and 9 was trying to find a portal into hell, so we have successfully done so. So it's now time to make use of it.
We successfully entered, in which case I regret to inform you of welcome to hell.
Yes, welcome to hell. If you don't like centipedes, I apologize.
This is on Infinite Climax, the hardest difficulty of the game. What Pippi said.
Yes, Infinite Climax. I will die in one hit, and I'm playing as Rosa, so I will absolutely be dead in one hit. We will be making liberal use of yellow candies to counteract this, however. If you have a spider fear, I will advise you to look away from the screen for the next probably 30 seconds or so.
Darkness is the absence of light.
In that meantime, if you like, Pippi can maybe potentially soothe you with her voice.
Would you like a soothing voice?
Actually, that fight was actually quite good, so I do have to start explaining things again.
Oh, wonderful! Okay, well...
Never mind then.
Yes, you are free to look at the screen again. Unless you don't like very dark tendrils, in which case, I regret to inform you, this will be the case for quite a few chapters.
Just pretend it's a crab or a scorpion. Well, in which case the crab is gone, so does that mean we did the rave?
I'm sorry, that's a reference that goes over my head.
Crab rave. I was trying to reference the song. That is on me.
I mean, it's likely my fault for not being able to understand. Alright. For some reason they lower the ante with this fight. We fought 3 resentments before, as you might remember, but now they only give us 2 of them for this particular fight. Which I'll gladly take, I would rather not fight 3 of them. The final fight of importance is against 2 enemies known as Sloth, which are very ironically named. They're, to my knowledge, one of the fastest enemies in this game that are not Balder. They are very fast, and they, too, like to dodge your Umbran mech, so I'm going to try to sort of split the difference with my candies here. Definitely using a red, because a good offense is a good defense sometimes. Alright.
Very good fight.
Yeah, that's very scary.
It turns out that the sloths did behave, so
They did.
I hope you voted yes.
Oh, is there a poll?
No, but there was a remark in chat, vote now on your phones.
Alright, coming up is a fight, thankfully not against Rodon, but with Rodon, who is extremely powerful. And normally in Bayonetta you're supposed to just sort of marvel at Rodon's power. With Rosa on easy, normal, and hard, you're supposed to participate in the fight because you can take out enemies a lot quicker. When you're playing on Rosa Infinite Climax, you revert to the original way of thinking about Rodon because there's a lot of enemies that will be bombarding the screen, and we're just going to let him do it. It is indeed not optimal. It is very slow. But I am a very scared person. And so I'm just going to stand here with my feather shield and just do some moves. Pippi, if you have any announcements to make, now is a fantastic time.
Oh, I would love to. I do have a quick donation for you while we're spinning and feathering. Got $5 here from Broken Hyperlink, who says less than 3. That is true, we have less than 3 deaths, right? Did I do math correctly?
Did I get a third
It is.
death?
No, it is still 2.
It's still 2?
No, you
Okay.
had. I think you had 3 pseudo deaths,
I've
but
had
I don't
multiple
think
pseudo-deaths, yeah.
I don't think those collect together to make any more deaths. So I think it is less than 3.
Nice.
And less than 3 is, as we know, very adorable. So, thank you very much for your kind donation to care.
If Ace is still in the chat, you see what I mean. Yeah, so Rodon has an attack called the Stomp, which is really, really powerful, basically just an entire screen wipe. But as Ace has told me before, if the enemies are even slightly above ground, the Stomp will not work, and because we're fighting on the back of an insidious manta ray, they're off the ground ever so slightly quite a bit of the time, so it did kill one of them, but not the other.
Not seriously thinking of getting between a man and his next payday. Chill, Bayonetta. Don't go shooting up my target, you dig? I need that one intact.
Alright. That's chapter 10.
Well, based on that cutscene, I am sure something will be intact, but I'm not sure who.
Yeah. Well, we will be fighting against the enemy in which Rodon would like to be intact. Her name is Alron. She's a weird plant demon thing. I'm not exactly sure what they were going for, but she also has Balder syndrome. That is to say, she likes to dodge your attacks for no reason quite a bit. So we're going to also be making use of the feather and prey strategy. Nope, I'm just gonna take the death. That's 3.
I regret to inform everyone that we are no longer less than 3.
Yes, it is.
We are now less than or equal to.
Yeah, you just put a line underneath your little sign.
It can still be cute. You can still make it cute.
Okay. I will say that I think I might have done a goof. In that this second phase of the fight is actually so easy that there was probably no need to take the hit in terms of time. It's a gigantic hitbox, and yes, she can attack quite quickly, but because she's in this stunned animation for so long, you can just sort of wail on her, and she'll never get an attack off. So it was probably not intelligent for me to actually take the death there. I should have just taken the pseudo-death. And I was okay with doing that because this fight is literally the only one in this chapter. How did I still get a platinum after dying?
I love the poll that just came up. Which is better, less than 3, equal to 3, or :3, apparently.
I know what Pippi's answer is.
Oh, am I that predictable?
You have a brand, I'll say that much.
I do. For anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't had a text conversation with me, every sentence has :3 at the end of it, and it's a problem. I have an addiction. I need to stop.
Or alternately, keep doing it.
It's the best form of punctuation.
Alright, so, if you like cool things, then keep your eyes glued to the screen, because this is just awesome. It's not particularly difficult, but it is very fun. We're playing as, well, still Rosa, but riding on top of this headless horseman demon known as Diomedes. And we're just going to be riding like this with our death scythe through this level until we get to the final Balder fight of the run. There's not too much to say about this. The only thing that there is to mention is that there will be points in time where there's going to be multiple enemies on screen, but they spawn sort of asynchronously. And because we want to use our Umbran Climax for the ranged attack and not just this normal slash that we have here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the Umbran Climax, but then sort of just let it drain instead of stopping it. So we know when all the enemies are going to spawn, so we can take out one very quickly, wait while our magic drains, and then take out the other one with the second slash before the magic runs out. You'll see a couple of instances of this. But that's all I have to say about this. Enjoy the pretty colors, and Pippi, if you got announcements, now's a great time.
Oh, you know I do. I would like to just give another quick update on our DDR Mario Mix Super Hard Difficulty Showcase, which we only have a couple more runs to meet, and we still got a ways to go. We're currently $150 out of $500, which I know sounds like a lot, but, and I know I'm not great at math considering I'm a speedrunner, but little numbers add up to big numbers, and we generally like that. We like little numbers because they're parts of big numbers. Yes. So I know we can do it, everyone. So please, if you have the money in your budget, it goes to a wonderful cause, and we would love to see that DDR Mario Mix Super Hard Difficulty Showcase. That's a long title. We want to see Mario do thing. Yes, yes, yes.
We do.
Yes, yes.
As an aside, since the way Tiltify works, you can actually have your money go to both a target and a goal.
That is true.
So if you'd like to choose between Green Mario or Red Luigi, also feel free to do that while trying to meet the incentive.
Yeah, give me those hot takes. Do you like Red Luigi better?
I'm a little bit more of a Green Mario myself.
Something interesting about this fight. We are going to use all our candies for sure, but even more intriguing than that is that if you take out Falder too fast, that is to say, you take out the entirety of his health bar before the screen transitions to the second phase, the game will just soft lock you because the game thinks that the actor is dead, but the screen has not changed to the final ending screen, so the game will simply leave you in the second phase of the fight with no actor to actually hit. So you need to be quite careful with how you deal your damage. Ideally, it's just a sliver of health before at the end, but it's a little bit hard to get there specifically sometimes.
Diplomacy.
Take our daily trip to the candy shop. A daily, more like every 10 minutes.
Look, sometimes things are stressful and you just happen to drain the hard candy bowl. It happens.
Mm-hmm. Although I'm not much of a lollipop fan, I gotta be honest.
Are there other options, or is it just different flavors of lollipop?
Hold on. Sorry.
Well,
I got it.
Unimportant question. Please don't.
If it's this game, sadly, not really. It's just different lollipops. If we're talking the candy store, otherwise, I'm sure there's loads of options.
Alright. Could have gone poorly, but we're good. Alright, this fight is a little bit interesting. I'm gonna be safe. Alright, that's fine. We were safe and did the dodge there. You don't have to get witch time. In fact, if you're playing on easy or normal or hard, it is better to take the damage and simply not go into witch time. Because again, witch time is very nice because it prevents you from taking damage, but it's also very slow. So, but on Infinite Climax, we would prefer to be safe.
By the way, I see Critique Wars did put a lot of channel points into one particular poll option.
Thank you, Critique Quartz, for being correct.
Am I missing something?
:3-1.
Oh, I see.
By an absolute landslide.
98% of the vote. The people love
98%. Okay, hold on. Was it a poll that allowed for multiple
Yes.
votes? Okay, well,
Yes.
let's be honest with ourselves here.
Hey, we never said you could not purchase the correct answer. In fact, we said the exact opposite.
What am I doing? Okay. Now, I'm still testing if this next thing I'm going to be doing is actually faster. It may not actually be. You can either do the thing that you do in Bayonetta 1, where you activate that statue over there. Ugh. You activate that statue to the right and sort of make your way across this chasm using Witch Time, or if Infinite Witch Twist is actually faster. Well, now it's slower. Okay, I'm just gonna do it the slow way. I have an inkling that it's still Infinite Witch Twist, but not by much.
Yeah, at the very least, the standard way is more consistent. The Infinite Witch Twist is more fun.
Yes, that is for sure. I don't like when you run away.
We're doing it again, but now without the channel pointing. Okay.
Colin 3 is still
good.
winning.
We're doing some good science here today on the Lady Arcaders channel.
This is the content that you tune in to watch, is the debate over what kind of 3 is best 3.
This is not good.
Yeah, and if you like this sort of content, keep in mind there is also a trap mode on, I think it's Thursdays and Sundays.
That is true. Thursday nights, there's some various form of night in U.S. time zones collectively, and Sunday mornings to noon based on your time zone. If you're in the U.S., if you're in other places, please convert accordingly.
All right. We got to fight a hand a couple times, so sorry if you're a huge hand fan. Fanned?
I'm a
Fan
huge
fan.
fan.
Oh, that's death.
Oh!
Oh no!
That was sudden.
Yeah, if you fall into lava, guess what happens? You die.
I didn't know that!
Okay, we are definitely no longer less than 3.
No, unfortunately.
We are
not.
now greater than 3.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you fall into lava, you do not get the option to actually activate your little candy thing, your red hot shot. So, and
To be fair, it is lava.
yes, but throw me a bone here sometimes. I'm playing the hardest difficulty. All right, this is very slow, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm scared.
It's fine. This looks like a pretty scary run, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm not too displeased with the performance, but that could all change with the next 2 chapters, which are very death-prone, shall we say.
For a run that you've said could be as many as like 50, to have only 4 deaths is incredible so far.
This is true, and if anybody at home is planning to donate per death, if you were thinking of taking that gamble, well, first of all, you get to cheat because given the nature of how donating after something happens works, you get to pick how much you donate per death after knowing the total of deaths.
Yes,
but
that is true.
I think it's turning out to be a much more manageable total than 50 for many a person.
For now.
For now.
Let's make sure to put that stipulation in there.
Throwing for charity is also an option.
It is. Oh, trust me. As we all know, I'm very good at throwing for charity.
This is simply the better.
All right. That fight that I just did is actually very difficult, even casually. So we use feathers and red candies, not just to make it faster, but that's the normal strat that we do, because it's just that powerful of an enemy. All right, this is the first of 2 chapters that I'm actually rather concerned about.
Diplomacy.
Because enemies love to attack you off screen in this chapter. You would think you're okay because you're playing as the mech the entire time, but it doesn't work like that when the game forces you into the mech. When you're forced into the mech, you are still prone to dying. Only when you're in Umbran Climax do you not die. So this is actually the most damage that you can do in the game at any given time. It's be in the mech and then use Umbran Climax. The damage output is wild.
And also right now I see that we actually have 2 mechs.
Yes, we are fighting alongside Rosa, believe it or not. The Rosa that's supposed to be here.
Because clearly the best offense is, the only thing better than 1 Rosa is 2 of them.
Yes, we're a little bit more efficient in our enemy dispatching unit than...
Are we having an out-of-body experience?
I think it's perfect, very much in body, but also maybe out of body a little bit as a treat.
That's a treat.
We're having a we're having a both experience at once. Also, a quick update. Less than 3 won, and my heart is broken because we are not less than 3. We are currently 4.
We might be
I
a
cursed
5.
I cursed it. That's on me, everyone. That one was me.
The commentator's curse. It always comes in at the weirdest moment.
Yeah, I don't like dying there.
I wouldn't expect that you would. Hey, while you're adding to the death tally, though, can I sneak a quick donation?
Go for it.
I've got $5 for you from Ryan O, who says, "This is all in caps. I'm very sorry in advance. Darkness triumphs."
Darkness. Well, eventually it will triumph.
Eventually.
All right, we're not playing games this time. I used a red candy.
Considering that you are darkness and the other side is also some sort of dark hell beasts, is it not always darkness triumphs?
Well, it depends what you think. If the angels win.
Those angels seem rather dark.
They're, oh, by the way, that's really stupid. Yeah, enemies will just attack you off screen in this... Wait, what? Oh, I used the red... Oh, I don't like that. No, it's not intentional. Alright, so that wasn't a death. It should have been a death, though. That's interesting.
The rare unintentional not death.
Yeah, I don't know how I like this, really. Okay, we should be fine. We should be fine. So, we've only taken 1 death in this chapter, technically. We should have taken 2, but I used the red hotshot accidentally. So, there are 2 remaining fights in this chapter, both of which, again, have a tendency to attack you off screen. So, we're going to sort of just pray, I suppose.
I mean, I guess we do have we have 1 invincibility left, but
we actually do have 2, thankfully, because we have a big candy. We have a big yellow candy in the back. Yeah, see what I mean? I just dodged a missile that was off screen. Very fun. Very cool game. I really appreciate it. Alright, this was a good attack, because I can keep dodging and get a lot of damage off before major problems happen. At least ideally. Alright, that's a really hard attack to dodge on Infinite Climax, because,
I almost clenched.
yeah. Your dodge window is also significantly reduced when you're playing on Infinite Climax, and that's a very quick, what would you call it in Smash? I don't know. I'm not a professional Smash player. But we are gonna just tear through this enemy here, though. Alright. Using the...
I mean, that is probably close to, like, parry timing in Ultimate.
What is parry timing in Ultimate? Is that 5 frames?
I'm actually not sure. I know it's very tight, though.
I'm relatively certain it's within 5 frames. Or, no, specifically 5 frames. What's the move? What's the name for the startup time of a move? Why don't I know this?
Start lag? I'm not sure. I am also not a professional Smash player, so I do not know all of these terms.
I should.
I don't own that video game, so I don't think I'm a professional at it.
You should. It's a good game.
We have a little money. I'll spend a little bit of money on extra health that may or may not be necessary.
I'm realizing that the theme of the showcases for the night so far have been this character is playable in Smash. Did you know? And oh hey, great opportunity if you like for Mario to join that DDR Mario mix. Have you considered donating to it?
I see Ace saying in chat that the best verse is coming up. And I hope that they're being sarcastic, because this is the gauntlet that I was talking about before. If you die anywhere, you start over from the beginning. And enemies like to attack you off screen. And have a weird amount of, like, stun resistance, which is pretty unfortunate.
Also, you know what, Pippy is right. Now, with the friends we've had left. I mean, we didn't play as Kirby for Star Allies, but...
Kirby was in the title of the game, I think.
Close enough.
Sorry, I'm gonna go into focus mode here, so have a lovely conversation, you two.
Would you like a donation while you're focusing?
Oh, sure.
Because I have $20 for you from Beautiful Dandy, who says, "The shadow remains cast."
Then it does.
That feels very dramatic.
That is what she says when you die and you have another opportunity to, and you hit the continue button, so to speak.
Ooh, I'm sorry if I didn't do the right voice for it then. I'm just going to go in a corner and research how to read that voice line correctly. Oh, I'll be back in about like 20 seconds.
I am sure she'll be back with a reasonably good imitation.
Oh, I'm sure.
Also, we are in fact really close to...
Sorry.
That actually went pretty well. I know that was really kind of scary, but it went okay, I think.
It did. All things considered. Alright, I'm happy with that.
This is simply the benefit of training.
Ace says that they do in fact like this verse, and I feel betrayed, my friend.
I've returned. If you would like another attempt.
Go for it.
Or if you would like an update that we are now getting ever closer to that super hard difficulty showcase for DDR Mario Mix. And also to our overall goal of $2,500 per pair. Wow. But I will try my best to be both British and have built-in reverb.
Yeah, that's I was wondering if you would do that.
Also, the YouTube video I looked up, I may have cut off the ending, so if the ending's not super surprising, maybe we'll be okay, but I think it's something like, "The shadow remains cast."
It's pretty good.
That's what I got right now.
Close enough.
Hopefully I don't die again, so you don't get yet another audio example to go off of.
Feel free to give me more homework. That was quite fun.
Well, for now we're just gonna headbutt a meteor.
Yeah,
I
I do want to say that I actually do feel kind of bad, because if you're like if this is your first time watching Bayonetta, you're probably like your jaw's probably on the floor as to what's going on in this game.
Bayonetta is a wild series and is surprisingly over the top for how serious it tends to be.
Yeah, that being the case, because I run this game so much, I must admit that I'm a little bit jaded to a lot of it, so you will not be getting tons of reactions. Alright, so there's another red hotshot up here, so we actually have two, which is going to be really good for the last fight.
That's like -2 deaths. Except it's not. But it's close.
It does let me get, well, because the next chapter is the final one. We're almost done with this game. And there's a section at the very beginning that has nothing to do with Bayonetta, but it still makes you do it. You'll see what I mean in just a second. And you still can die. It is very likely that you do die, so we want to be cognizant of all of those factors before we go into the final chapter, chapter 16, Sovereign Power. But before we do that, let's take another shopping trip.
If you have a moment for me to say, I am a person who has not played a Bayonetta game and has not seriously looked at gameplay of a Bayonetta game very much. And There's so much happening at once. I don't know how you keep track of what is in the foreground and what is in the background.
I don't, is the answer to your question. As you saw, I get hit by a lot of things off screen quite a bit, and it's really obnoxious. Alright, if you thought that you would be playing this game and there would be a jet section, then you are a genius. Because I certainly did not expect it. We are on top of this ship here, piloted by our dear friend Jean. And we have access to both Rosa and Balder now. Balder is on our side. Which is really good, because he has access to this really giant sword attack, which is really nice. Let's just put it that way.
This might also be a fun time to mention the amiibo support that both the Wii U and Switch version of this game actually has. So I think it actually changes the ship you're on.
Oh, did they?
I think. I don't quote me on that.
Alright, got through the first phase of that damage, which is nice. I'm going to be using all of my red candies here, because I actually have 4 giant red candies, which should last me well through the length of the final fight. So I have no fear using my small red candies for the flight portion of this chapter.
Also, Mid Racers, I think the first game has a similar segment where it plays like afterburner music.
It does have a similar section. This is significantly better, because if you've played the analogous chapter in Bayonetta 1, you'll remember, perhaps to your horror, that when you do a barrel roll in that, it actually flips your entire screen instead of just doing this. It is very disorienting and not very fun to watch.
No, I imagine not. It reminds me of what Portal 1 did whenever you went through one and the camera angle was different between them.
You'll notice that I actually did take a lot of damage from one of those attacks, and I wasn't in the mech, so it's perhaps a bit confusing as to why I'm dying. Oh yeah, I did not die, rather. I want to clarify that it's not necessarily being in the mech that makes you invincible to death. It's simply being in Untitled Climax, which I was for that fight.
For H-Pron's reference, yes, the Wii U does, if you use the gamepad, there's a tab below the directional, below the D-pad.
Weirdly enough, these little purple orbs do not damage me, they just make me go a little bit slower, so I'm okay with just spamming the A button. Alright, here's our final challenge for the flighting section. Flying and fighting section. We get to fight.
Nice portmanteau.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, the Wii U version, I believe the Wii U version did. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Because I know that was something they added to that version of the first game even.
That's not great.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, don't quote me on it, because I don't know for certain that in this exact moment, but I do think, I want to say it did.
Yeah, so the Insidious actually tried to fly away from me, which is bad because you can't hit him with Balder, and Rosa's shots are significantly less damaging than Balder's attacks. However, it didn't end up being a huge problem because Insidious had such little health anyway that Rosa was able to finish it off.
Professors, I did my homework. Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U did in fact feature amiibo support.
Sounds about right. Alright, so this is the final boss. This is against Aesir, so we're going to do a little bit of candy prep before we go in. Make sure we have absolutely full magic. And before we go in, we're going to make sure we heal ourselves, because why not? And we're going to use a big red candy, and actually equip that over here. Use one now, and I think we should be good for the first part of the fight. Let's put an invincibility candy on and start desecrating this fight. Okay, so we're going to do that. give ourselves a big purple candy, which will give us a full magic meter, and hopefully not get the thing that he likes to do, where he goes into the second part of the first phase. Okay, thankfully we got to avoid that. Alright, one more phase to go. As you can see, we're just burning all of our candies. There's literally no reason to keep them anymore, so... I did go overkill, I do have to admit. I did go overkill on the number of candies that I got. And sort of preserved for this fight, but I'm glad I did, because the last thing we wanted for this is for this showcase to go on for 3 hours, so I would like to stay within the 1 hour 45 that I allotted myself. Nice camera game. Okay. Alright. We get a very long climax cutscene, which involves... Man, I wish I knew the lore. Some combination of Jubileus and something else. Not Jubileus. Actually, it might be Jubileus. Jubileus and Madama Butterfly. I don't know the difference. My apologies for not knowing the story. But it's a lot of very small controller movements, so nothing too involved. If you have any announcements, now's a great time for them.
I mean, I will always take a moment while we watch this beautiful cutscene of kaiju-level proportions to tell everyone a quick reminder that Lady Arcader's Super Showcase 2023 is raising money for CARE. CARE is a wonderful charity that we have given our full support to. They were founded in 1945, and they are a leading humanitarian organization fighting global poverty. CARE has more than 7 decades of experience delivering emergency aid during times of crisis, working in over 110 countries. Their emergency responses focus on the needs of the most vulnerable populations, particularly girls and women. And as Lady Arcaders, we have among our midst many people who fall into those categories and extensions of those categories. So we are fully excited to be supporting them. If you would like to help us out in donating to that cause, oh, and also to get to see that that DDR Mario Mix incentive get met, which I think you should! ! Donate if you have a moment.
By the way, I think we have already hit time.
We have not. We have to play the credits.
Oh.
I was just about to mention. We must play the credits.
Thank you for telling me that, because I would have assumed, like, oh, because of the fights.
Yes, because
we fight during the credits?
Because we have access to fights during these little fight vignettes, you could call them, during the credits. We cannot end time until the final fight of the game. So, I guess now would be a good time to say shoutouts, because all we're doing is just standing in one spot and letting the enemies hit us. So, yes, thank you all for watching. I hope that it was entertaining and informative, some combination of those two things. Thank you very much, Dark Soul, for helping me out.
Absolutely.
I don't know if the host has any sort of script that they typically would like to go through.
Just offering you the opportunity to tell everyone where we can find you. After this lovely credits beatdown has concluded.
Might as well do it during. So yes, I have been a variety pack. I stream this game occasionally. I am learning Hyper Light Drifter speedruns. I consider myself relatively good at Bioshock Infinite and Skyward Sword, a lot of things, as my name might imply. So if any of those things sound like your bag, then hope to see you there.
Hey, Skyward Sword, you say? Sorry.
The correct Skyward Sword. That is Skyward Sword HD.
I forget if it was you or someone else I've talked to then, because I know someone recently said that they ran like 80% alt drifter.
Oh yeah, Divine Orchid.
That's the one I recognize.
She's very good at the game. Far better than I am at that particular run. Dark Soul.
Yeah, I have thought about it slightly. The only reason I wouldn't do like standard is that game is very loud with certain scenes.
Yes, it does have that for sure. Dark Soul, if you'd like to do the same yourself.
Honestly, I've already done pretty much any of my channels, but I guess if anything, I guess I'll just plug Twitch again. Twitch.tv/GoSoul188. I tend to speedrun a lot of Kirby and do platformer stuff in general, and I've been dabbling in other games. So, if you've been interested in any of the stuff that I've done throughout, definitely give that a follow as well. But also definitely follow VarietyPad. Definitely very good runner, considering she's only taken, what, 5 deaths not counting the credits, 9 deaths if we are counting them?
Oh, we should.
Counting
that's
the
a good.
credit?
That's a good question. Should we count these deaths? I'm gonna count them. Sure, why not?
Okay, because I've been tracking them anyway.
I didn't even think of that.
So
I
time.
didn't think that playable credits were a thing. Sorry.
Yeah, so time is going to be when we see the skull on the screen as we get hit by the last enemy on this final section here. It's a little bit hard to time, but I'll do my best. We're going to see a lot of enemies on the first auto-scroller that we managed to get through deathless somehow. So it should be 2 hits because I actually got some health upgrades. There's 1, and this, please stop, there we go. And it should be time, 3, 2, 1, time. There we go.
Right, I am counting 10 deaths with the credits counted.
10 deaths, alright. If you don't count the credits, then 4, I think, maybe 5 is...
5.
5? That's
It's 5.
actually quite good. I'm very happy with that first showcase.
Many GGs.
I do want to shout out, if I may, the Bayonetta speedrunning Discord. There, you can find myself, you can find Ace there, people who have spent a lot of time putting effort into all 4 games of the series. There's been a lot of talk recently about how best to optimize Bayonetta Origins, the very not combat-centric game in this, relatively not combat-centric game in the series, in the franchise. So if any of this has looked interesting, it does not have to be as hard as I have made it. Just any aspect of Bayonetta speedrunning, I would absolutely take a look there. It's a great first step with a ton of really, really helpful people.
And excellent job, indeed. If anybody wanted to donate for deaths, it goes to a good cause, but Variety was kind to you and your wallet by keeping that total pretty low for us. Impressively so, if I do say so myself, with how much was going on screen. I think 5 deaths is quite honorable.
I'll take it for sure.
Massive GGs.
Right. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in for that wonderful Bayonetta 2 showcase. We will be right back with our next showcase on the agenda, Castlevania Judgment. So don't go anywhere. Relax. Enjoy the vibes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. The next run will be coming up ever so shortly. But first, I have an all-important donation to read for y'all. Got $20 from Neurodivergent Herd Animal. I love that name. Who says, here to match AVP's $2 per death pledge. Thank you so much. If you would also like to match that $2 per death pledge, that is a $20 donation to CARE. Or you could do $1 per death if that matches your budget better, or you could do $50 per death if your budget is something much higher than my expectations. But regardless, my expectations do not matter because, unfortunately, my time on host mic for the event has come to a close. Thank you, everyone, so much for having me. Thank you, Lady Arcaders, for putting on a great event and letting me play with your microphone. I have been PippyInATopHat, and I leave you in the ever-capable hands of the one, the only, Charbunny. Have a great night, everyone, and let's not $100 to $2,500! Woo!